Hey everyone, uh, just sitting outside and thinking about a lot of things that contribute to my fascial release and physical therapy, and some things that I've been reading about recently online, as well as hearing about people's experiences online, either Facebook or Instagram. And I just wanted to kind of hit home on pelvic health and why it's important to have somebody who can either provide, hands-on assistance or hands-on technical care, because it really does author that therapeutic touch component to the care. So, as somebody who is trained and specializes as like a posture assessment and gait analysis therapist, when you come into my clinic or when I see you in your home, the first thing I'm going to be doing is taking a whole look at your body. That's your neck, your head, your shoulders, your hips, your knees, your ankles, your feet. And what I see in a lot of people are these rotations in their pelvis. So that rotation can look like, if this is our pelvis here, if that rotation can look like a twist, a torsion, forward and backward. It can look like a opening or a closing twist. It can look like an up or a down slip. And if we can remember that the body is all one unit and kind of suspended by the connective tissue and the muscles and fascia holding tensegrity, if we have our structure that has a twist or a torsion that's sending twists and torsions throughout the whole body, but specifically thinking about the pelvis, we can look at the impact that tension and that strain has on the organs in that small area that are very susceptible to pain, very susceptible to dysfunction, and as well as showing up on some of our tests like MRI, CAT scans, blood tests as scary big words like cancer, endometriosis, or other kind of dysurias or dysphasias. Maybe not dysphasias, but when I notice that we start to correct some of these bony alignments, the soft tissue around it starts to unwind itself from this tight gnarled web, and it begins to kind of relieve tension. And some of that tension put on by these soft tissue structures like the fascia and the muscles and the nerves and the arteries can be putting as much pressure on these sensitive areas as like up to 2,000 pounds per square inch. So if we're thinking about an area that's maybe, about maybe like 6 cubic feet or whatever, maybe not 6 cubic feet, but like 3 cubic feet, if you put 2,000 pounds per square inch in that small area, it's going to have massive widespread injuries and impact. So one of the first things I do is look at what the pelvis is doing, and then I say, okay, so if the pelvis has, let's say, this rotation forward, how does that affect the feet? How does that affect the knee? How does that affect the hip? And a lot of the times it looks like a leg length discrepancy that could be one leg appearing longer or shorter than the other. And then, once I go in and I start to work with the pelvis and the bones and the ilium around the sacrum, the coccyx, I notice that the leg lengths look more normal. The pain in the abdomen is a lot decreased, as well as maybe some pain in the neck and jaw kind of being relieved and released, not only just from working at the pelvis, but the pelvis is our first diaphragm in our body that mirrors the other diaphragms up it. So if the pelvis is our first one, our thoracic or actual diaphragm is the second, our thoracic inlet is the fourth, and then our throat and neck being the fourth. Don't quote me on numbers. So I just had those thoughts about pelvic health and pelvic pain, just from fixing like a torsional or a slip or a twist or a dysfunction in the bony anatomy can have a huge lasting impact in the way that people who have chronic pain in the area. Somebody that I recently was treating had endometriosis and had the same kind of pelvic anomaly, and we released all those things. We fixed the bones back into the proper positions, and then all of a sudden their period pain and their cramping sensation was significantly less than it had been for years, and they had been on a plethora of different kind of medications to help subside those pains. I haven't spoken to them to see if the endometriosis inflammation has changed, but I would guarantee to see, in a few more sessions of the myofascial work and the pairing it with therapeutic exercise and craniosacral therapy, how that whole system can finally come into a cohesive rhythm and start to work together. So I hope that this wasn't too awkward or too weird talking about pelvic health, but I think it's important. I think we should all be talking about it. We shouldn't be nervous to talk about it, especially as a man. I can see how awkward that is as female presenting people working with me, but also remember that I am a trans man and that I have very intimate experience with similar parts and intimate experience working with people with similar parts and different parts. So if you're not too uncomfortable having an awkward, fun conversation with me, I encourage you to reach out, message me, leave a comment on this video, and maybe we can help to break the stigma of pelvic health and pelvic pain in our medical fields and our medical practices, and really start to have these awkward, uncomfortable conversations that are truly important to people's daily life. Just being able to sit still on any kind of chair, soft, hard, having pain-free sexual experiences, just being able to go to the bathroom without pain or dysfunction can really open and have a massive impact on someone's life. And all it takes is just one awkward conversation. So if you're interested in working with me, you can leave me a message, you can reach out, you can leave a comment, and I'd love to hear your experience either with somebody with pelvic floor or maybe your own experience with pelvic dysfunction, and maybe some things that you have noticed that have helped or not helped, so that we can kind of learn from each other and really make an impact on someone else's life. Have a good day.